thank you everyone for joining us. I'm Janine Boland. This is Open Friday Coffee. Open Friday Coffee originally started because I had a student on my online university and they asked questions and I would answer them. And then I just started inviting other people that wanted to hang out with me. And then they also helped me teach my students. So we call ourselves the Brain Trust. Thank you for joining us on Open Friday Coffee. And I have two questions that I'm going to be answering for my students. Many of my students don't show up to Open Friday Coffee. They listen to the YouTube channel. So if you are one of those 64 people who you're watching the YouTube channel, thank you so much. And leave comments below. And Lynette, my wonderful helper on Help on Deck, will be glad to respond to you unless you want me specifically to respond. But she usually notifies me, hey, Janine, there's a comment you need to respond to. So there you go. The first question comes from a basic building question, basic business building. And this one student of mine was kind of struggling with the whole idea of, I just don't have enough time. And I talk about it on my podcast, The Thriving Solopreneur. And I actually used to send out cards with this with my students of, no, no, no. It is very important that you realize you do not need more time. We are all given the same 24 hours in a day. What you need is planning. You need to start planning better. You need to have a very strong vision of what you want to go to, goals that you're going to change. And then we start doing the My Perfect Week, and then we do weekly reviews. And so this is the way that I used to, and still, mentor my students. And that is, you need planning. And if you don't know what you are targeting, if you are not so clear, crystal clear on your goal. Now, we hear about all of the habits of the rich and famous. We hear about how men like Musk and Bezos and others, how they are very single-minded and very pointed in their goal setting. And they are so set on their goals and so into their targets that they actually are asking themselves every moment as they're doing different activities, is this leading me closer to my goal or is this leading me away from my goal? Now, that has a tendency to make you feel like, oh my gosh, if I'm not working, I'm not doing anything productive. Whoa, 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 whoa. These people know how to relax. They know how to downshift. And they will actually find ways to do that, spend time with family, friends. These are things that are priorities. And we talk about that in My Perfect Week. So I will discuss this in greater detail for Open Friday Coffee if you have questions. But my student knows where to go in the online course so that you can get the templates for building out your perfect week and how to do your weekly review. So once you have your vision on what type of life you're building for yourself, how to live your perfect life now. And by the way, perfect is a joke. Nothing is ever perfect. That's the little joke I have with my students and I. Remember when we talked about our perfect week and everybody would be like, yes. And we all know my week is perfect Sunday mornings at 6 to 7 a.m. because on Sunday mornings from 6 to 7 a.m., I'm sitting down with my calendar and I'm building out my perfect week. As soon as the first kid would wake up and talk to me, it would destroy the plan. However, I had structure in place so that we could work on those workflows. Now, there is a challenge that is very specific, and they even mention it in The Matrix, one of my favorite movies. They mention it in The Matrix, and that problem that comes up is choice. This is where self-doubt will try to creep in. Am I making the right choice? Am I working on the right thing? Am I doing it on the right time? Now, how do you supersede that? It's very simple. You have a workflow. Now, this is something that I learned very quickly in the emergency room. If somebody walked in, are they walking? Are they breathing? Are they acting normal? Okay, so are you hemorrhaging? Are you breathing? I mean, this is just basic triage. I mean, anybody who's done anything medical will do this and knows this. And if you've had military service, you also know about these type of workflows. They do not want you thinking. They train you and train you and train you so you're no longer thinking. Why? To remove the element of choice. Because if you remove the element of choice, then you will not, then you will react and move in a very efficient and streamlined situation. So let's talk about something else you probably have seen most of your life, and that is the Eisenhower decision matrix. Oh, and by the way, what was Eisenhower before he became president? He was a general. Do you think that maybe where this came from was his military training to make sure that you didn't make decisions that were less efficient? So this is the Eisenhower decision matrix, and it was borrowed by none other than Stephen Covey. And Stephen Covey uses it frequently in his time management systems, the mayonnaise jar, and you put the rocks in first and then the sand and then eventually water. And it's like, if you don't make sure that you're doing the important and big things first, whoops, sorry about that. If you're not making sure that you got your big rocks in first, then you won't have time for other things. Well, that's part of the planning stages. This, the Eisenhower decision matrix, is what helps you when new stuff comes in. Like you pick up the phone, you're on a phone call, and you have to decide where in your decision matrix is that activity going to go. So if you do follow up in systems like that, where is that going to go in your week? Or is it something that's important and urgent and I have to do it now? Or did it fall into the time of it's important, but it's not urgent? That's where I bring in my calendar. The important but not urgent goes into my calendar. And that's why I tease people all the time. They say, "Oh, you're self employed." Yeah, well, my calendar is my boss. Like what happens on my calendar is what I do. And so a lot of times people will be like, "Well, I don't want to inconvenience you, Janine. I don't want to get mess up what you got going on." It's like, no, I have spots in my calendar for things that are important but not urgent that I know will come into my life. And it allows me a lot of flexibility. The other thing is you have the urgent, but it's not important. I'm always asking, and that's where you hear this who, not how. Who, not how. Like, how am I going to do this? If I ever catch myself saying that when I look at my calendar, it's like, okay, who can do this for me? And if I don't have somebody that's currently a part of my 12-person team that I can delegate this to, then I am working my butt off to make sure that I hire somebody lickety split. Hey, does somebody have somebody that they really trust? Blah, blah, blah. I need somebody that can XYZ by deadline, right? Last is delete or eliminate it. Gosh, there is so much that I delete out of my life. When they came up with that word cancel culture, and I know it means something differently, I'm like, I've been practicing that my whole life, but it's for my own things. It's like there is so much in my culture, in my internal landscape decision making that I cancel or delete. And that's why people say, you remember when we were talking about blah, 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 blah. And I'm very upfront. Nope, deleted it. I need space in my brain for other things. And then, of course, because that's not always socially acceptable, I would say things like, I'm having a mommy moment or something like that. Can you help refresh my memory? So please remember this when new stuff comes in. But this only works efficiently and effectively after you've done your planning. Do you have your vision? Do you have your goal? Have you already set up your 4 hours a week where you're working in your on your business, not in your business? And then you have the time that you're actually actively working as a technician in your business. And then when new stuff comes in, that's where the Eisenhower decision matrix is going to work for you. So it's a level up. We're leveling up on your time management skills. It's not just enough to do the time management. What are your big rocks? What are but have your calendar out, schedule things. And people are like, oh, but this gives me no freedom. I need to be free flowing. And I'm like, that's fine. But if you're going to tell me you also want to build a business and make money, you're going to need to be profitable. That is where you learn to be a tightwad when it comes to your time. You become very thrifty with your time because you realize you can make more money. Time, you only got 24 hours. Okay. So the 4-hour week system is something I mentioned not only in my send out cards programs and training, but also in my book, The Thriving Solopreneur. The 4 hours a week, let's catch you up. You have an hour a week you're doing prospecting, an hour a week that you're doing follow up, an hour a week that you are connecting with people, usually a networking event or open Friday coffee. Thank you. And then you're training yourself an hour a week. Okay. Those are the 4 basic hours. As you grow in your business, those will expand. I'm just teaching basic business building here. Start with this and move on. So here's a little bit of training. Once you open your doors and you start building out your business, what are you using to track your progress? What are your key performance indicators for you? Again, it's not enough just to look at your bottom line to see what your cash flow is, although that is a KPI. How much cash do you have coming in on a weekly, daily, monthly basis? You can set up those sorts of KPIs, but How many new people have you met this week? That's a KPI. How many follow-ups have you done this week? How many people have scheduled with you? This week, I had 6 people that scheduled with me. 3 of them were new. Okay, these are KPIs that help your business grow. Figure out what you want to track and then follow it meticulously. Do I do this? Absolutely not. It's important, but it's not urgent in my skill set. Ergo, I have somebody track it for me. Okay, so this is where it helps to start building a team. The biggest thing that people forget is, who do you already know? This is so important. Who do you already know? And for those of you, we'll put it in the chat in a little bit. Who do you already know? That is a link that we will send you to that template. We can download it and start working on that. The next one is, what does your work week look like? This is, again, go back to your calendar. Sunday, I use Sunday. Some people like Monday morning. I don't. To me, by Monday morning, I want to know exactly what I'm doing. First thing is that my feet hit the floor. Okay. So here's some free stuff, and we'll put these links in the chat. This is my upline for send out cards, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. You can go to JanineBoland.com/LinkedIn. Don't worry about, there's a course there at the top that you can have for $37, and it talks to you about how to use LinkedIn, well, blah, blah, blah. But scroll down, and then you'll see the free videos there below that. So an hour a week, you want to be doing nothing but collecting addresses of people you already know. That's the new master level. Okay, we're going to start talking about that. You want to start collecting addresses of people you already know that are not currently in your address book, and you're going to set time, an hour a week, where you're going to send them a card. Now, for those of you who live in foreign countries and you're like, the mail service does not work well, figure it out. Do something else. Get creative, figure it out. This is basic building where you access your current contacts. And here is the downloadable that you will receive. How many people do you know on Facebook, in your contacts on your phone, and LinkedIn? Build out your master contact sheet. I don't care what software package you use, find one. You're going to ask for their addresses. You're going to send them a card. Why? You're going to send them a card after you've asked for their addresses and thank them for being in your life. Some of the wealthiest people that you find on YouTube, do you know what they have done to get where they are? They have built relationships. And as those people grew and expanded and got into different areas of business, guess who they remembered as somebody to reach back to help them with their new enterprise? You. You spend time, you do follow-up. You can follow me on my YouTube channel, The Janine Boland Show, where I talk about how you send cards that are jokes. You do it for birthdays, you do it for unconventional times. So your next steps from today, after you get done with Open Friday Coffee, and Janine and you and everybody have a great time with Open Friday Coffee, you're going to open up your calendar. You're going to schedule your critical 4 hours. You're going to get to your current contacts, and you're going to download your contacts. And then you're going to start building out on your master contact sheet. This is the quickest way to start cash flow, is reaching out to people who already know you. So just make sure you put it in your calendar. When are you going to do all this? So I'll give you a minute. For those of you who already know me and know the system, you're welcome to take a little bit more and get a free book. I think I charge you $10 for shipping, because I think it's $6.75 for postage right now. You can go to JanineBoland.com/free book. And then this is the Thriving Solopreneur. You'll get your free copy. And now we will open it up for questions and 1-minute tech tips. And thank you, everyone who's new here, who's never been to Open Friday Coffee before. I always have a little bit of a slide deck when I have one of my students are asking me for help on something. They can't make it. That's what originally what Open Friday Coffee was helping I think I have 1,062 students on my 93 online courses right now. And this is a way that I would help them. So thank you for your patience. We're going to go around the horn and say hi to everybody. And to start off with, Matt, it's good to see you. I know you're at work. Matt always gives us our 1-minute tech tip for the day. So to help us out for business owners, what's the 1-minute tech tip?
Yeah, well, I have a lot to squeeze in today. So happy Friday, everybody. It's great to see everybody. Thank you so much for having me on here between Janine, Sean, Lynette, and Tasha. I like to, just to segue and not the cheesy scooter, guess what I got from Janine this week? I got one of these.
Yay.
And
Okay.
And guess what? I decided to leave on her voicemail. Me want cookie. Yum, 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 yum.
So I get it on my voicemail. Me want cookie. And what he doesn't know is I love Cookie Monster. I love cookies. We just came through Pie Day, which is all about circles. Thank you, Shannon or Shannon. Wonderful to have the cookies there behind you. How did you know, right?
Yeah, and
and
guess what? I have a cookie.
okay, it's for
So
cookies.
it's show and tell.
3.14159. This is why we love circular things. Anyway, go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, so also just to also talk about show and tell, I'd like to thank Mike McClellan for allowing me to go on Toastmasters. For him, I brought a piece of bread because you can't master your toast without bread. But I did. That's not
Dun,
bullshit.
dun.
So exactly. So I have to work on my ums and my ahs, but I was very kind and I was very grateful for Mike's kindness and generosity. So quickly getting into the tech aspects, very important thing to know. I had a lady come to me this week, and she had acknowledged, and unfortunately, Janine, you'll be able to relate to this with Carol, is that she got a text scam, and when she opened up that text scan, filled it out, somebody got into her PayPal account, and then it also affected not her only her iPhone but her iMac. They took supposedly $200,000 out of her PayPal, and then also proceeded to sit there and start charging some of her clients and then opening accounts in other avenues like Loan Depot. So you have to be careful what you sit there and click on. And so you have to be vigilant about those things. And so there's so many nuances on how you can get compromised. It's not a question of if it's a question of when. Even I last night, somebody tried to get onto a booking.com site under one of my email addresses, and I don't even have booking.com. So I had to sit there and follow my own advice. I took other procedure steps to avoid that issue. So I'm just warning you guys out there, that you have to be vigilant about these things. If you're not sure, don't click on it or check your emails or your addresses, because if people are trying to sign into accounts and you don't look, that's how you can also get compromised. So so the last thing you want is to have a Beastie Boys where it's listen all you all to sabotage. So
Thank you, dear. I always
exactly.
love how you slide the music in.
So the next thing I'll say to you guys is this thing behind me is NVIDIA's new AI chip, artificial intelligence chip, 200 billion transistors. And so this is going to sit there and power the next generation of artificial intelligence. Companies like Apple, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, Tesla are all going to be buying this chip. And I got news for you. This is the precursor for them getting Terminator off the ground. At some point, you hear Arnold say, "Come with me if you want to live. Get to the chopper." You know, that will happen, and this chip will sit there and help go do that. Also, I have a new segment. I am substituting the Hebrew haha this week, and I am filling it in with, because I had to think of 3 H's, with the Hebrew human hindrance. And I'll
Oh
tell you
my.
a story why.
Okay.
Um, First of all, just like the Sam Latch song, "Know Your Worth." And so let me tell you why. I had a lady contact me yesterday through text, and she said she was having an email problem. However, if I go back to last year, at some point when I first met this lady, everything was great for about 6 months. And then all of a sudden, she got flaky, so much so that the corn and the snow were jealous. And so I call her and she texts me back. I call her again, she texts me back. Or she texts me back and I call her and she wouldn't call. It was just this constant go around where I felt like I was having my time wasted and she was playing mind games, or maybe she was just 2 McNuggets short of a Happy Meal. I don't know what that case was. So I decided to have an Elsa from Frozen moment and just let it go. Now, fast forward to now. Guess what? She tried contacting me yesterday with an email problem, said she couldn't get on. I obviously know her face. I obviously know her name, but I remember how she treated me and how she made me feel. And I didn't trust her not to pull the same crap that she did last year. So guess what? If something's really that important, people will not text you, they will call you. So I'm just warning you, and I'm just throwing it out there to you. Don't go through the heartache that I have gone through. Know when people are not worth your time and they're not worth having as a client because they're not worth having as humans. All right, so That's how I roll. Hamburger and hot dog. I'll put my information in the chat. You want to talk nerdy, reach out. I'll be more than happy to help you out. Thanks, Dean.
No problem, Matt. And Matt was kind of doing a callback to one of the episodes we had where it was all about how do you know when you have a caustic client? And that was from Shailene McInnes, who's with us today. She was talking about this is what you don't allow. People will train you on how they expect you to be treated and how you will be treated by them and how not to fall back into that. So a lot of us are like, yeah, well, I would never let that happen. But yet sometimes we have caustic clients. They'll morph and manifest and transform sometimes on us. Everything's like, Matt said, things were just fine for the first 6 months. And next thing you know, you got a transformer and it's not the good kind. So anyway, just wanted to let you know. All right. So this is the order we're going to kind of go in. We're going to go with Linda, Anne, Shannon, and then Maria, Shailene, Val, Mike, Rich, Robin, and Jeff. And so I just wanted to let you know those are the order we're going to be going in. And we always love it when we have new people on. If you want to, you do not have to. But if you have a tip, something that you've learned or want to share with the Brain Trust, we see you as a Brain Trust here. We have a lot of experience everybody has between their ears. We'd like to learn from you. Thank you for educating us on these things. And so, first of all, Linda, we've seen each other, but I can't remember. Help educate me again. Where do we know each other from?
Maybe do you go to Cats on Fridays?
No. Nope,
No?
I'm usually doing video on Friday.
Friday.
I am hunkered down in front of my screen doing my YouTube video. What's up?
Oh, I'm not sure. So my name is Linda. Mike McQuillan invited me,
Hi,
and
Mike.
I own a gifting company, and it was really kind of interesting what you're saying because I teach my clients strategic gifting through the client journey to start building that relationship from the moment before you have that initial contact with them and using gifts through the process.
Sure.
So I work with businesses, small, medium, and large, on all of their gifting needs.
Okay.
And
so how can we help you today?
I'm looking for business owners that want to start gifting monthly to their.
Okay. So before we move further on all of this, we're going to come back around to you and ask for a 1-minute tip from you. Okay. And so you can go ahead and put your LinkedIn in the chat so that if somebody's interested, so we don't necessarily, you didn't know this, this is your first time here. We don't necessarily pitch, but you know what? Somebody wants to know what you do. Somebody's going to want to reach out to you. Definitely get on LinkedIn. And then Lynette is my social media person. And so definitely reach out to me. We don't reach out on LinkedIn anymore. We've got plenty of contacts. However, we know you. So definitely reach out to me and connect with me on LinkedIn. And Lynette, if you'll pop that in the chat for Linda. And then Linda, you are welcome back on anytime for Open Friday Coffee. And if you want to bring a 1-minute gifting tip, that allows me to then say, oh, and Linda has a gifting service where you can set this up monthly. Go ahead, Sean. What's up?
Which link did you want me to link real quick?
My LinkedIn one. This is Janine Boland on LinkedIn link. Thanks. Yep. Okay. So yes.
You couldn't say that again, could you?
No, I could not. Thank you, Rich Beyer. I am not an actress. I do not have lines. What you get is what you get in the moment. We go with flow. Love you, man. Stay on your island. We'll be with you in a moment. Okay, Anne, save us from the madness. Great to see you. Speaking of people who I've known for over 20 years, I knew Anne when she was like 17, 18.
Yeah.
I was a college professor at George Wythe College.
That was
that was a lifetime. That was a lifetime ago. Couple of marriages, you know.
Yeah, just a few.
Oh, I'm speaking of myself too, you know. But
Yeah,
anyways, so it's been a while. What's happening? What's cooking? How can we help you today?
Well, I'm just here for funsies.
Okay. All right.
So I'm Anne, and I'm an artist illustrator. I mostly do landscapes and natural science. So botany and vertebrate anatomy, so on and so on. But yeah, so something I've recently learned that I wanted to share thinking about it was that don't let other people treat you as a doormat, but also be nice. And also, it's easier if you're trying to go to bat for somebody. So if you kind of take yourself out of the equation and think, okay, if I were somebody else, would I go to bat for myself? The answer is always yes, by the way. But anyway, something I've learned very recently. I'm like, oh my gosh, don't be a
It's-
doormat.
So, and I can't remember this. It's killing me. Okay, so in 2005, I was running the Fun Fridays at my house. Were you part of the root beer parties, or were you a part of the physics group that came down and watched nerdy chemistry and physics stuff? I can't remember how we integrated.
Oh my gosh. I
If
don't
you don't
remember root
remember, that's
beer. I
okay.
don't remember root beer, so I'm gonna go
You
with
don't
the other.
remember? Gonna go with the physics.
Yeah.
Because 2005 was the 100-year anniversary of Einstein's miracle year. And
Oh man.
so I was running, I ran 32 physics-based, shows and all that kind of stuff. And we watched Men in Black because we were talking about how the $1 million shot, nowadays it wouldn't cost them $1 million. But at the time, the very first Men in Black, they span out from Manhattan and they go back and they go back. And at the very end of that shot, it's an alien dropping our entire universe into a marble bag. And so I was talking about how that was like quantum mechanics, macro and micro, and everybody was geeking out and talking about chemistry. I'm sorry, talking about physics. And that was a great time of my life. So thank you for those. Thank you for that walk down memory lane.
Yeah, I still every once in a while I actually drive past your old house.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Wave.
While I go.
So yeah, proof. I actually was a college professor. Since
Yes.
everybody talks about authenticity these days, and they're like, George with what? You hurt your
Oh,
what? You know,
It's almost like a dirty secret.
right? Your best kept secret, that little liberal arts college. Thank you so much for being here, Anne. Always a delight. Always a delight. Show up anytime.
Okay.
Put your LinkedIn profile in the chat for us. Okay. Make sure we're connected on LinkedIn. I'm doing that with all my students. They're like, I'm not looking for a job. I'm like, LinkedIn isn't like that anymore. So anyway, if you would be kind enough to do that, I appreciate it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. And then Shannon, definitely talk to us about what's happening with you. It's good to see you again, dear.
Yeah, good to
How
see
can
you
we help
too.
you?
So I just thought I'd share because I went to a conference yesterday. And it's always fun, like to share some great tips you get from a conference, right? So had a chance to listen to the keynote, Amy P. Kelly, who was training on 10 rules to fuel your life, work, and team with positive energy from a book called The Energy Bus, which I'm now reading. So number one is you are the driver of your bus. And what does that mean? You control, focus on what you can control. You control your attitude, your effort, your behavior, your actions. So I love that. Start your day with gratitude, but the practice of gratitude, the power of that practice is in the consistent application. Focus on what you can control. Just talked about that. And what was my other one? Oh, we don't burn out because of what we do. We burn out because we forget why we do what we do. Purpose is what fills us. So find your why. So
Find your why.
there's my
Get
share
that
for
vision.
today.
Thank you so much. Brilliant. And it's like, I'll pay you your $5 later. Fit right into what we were talking about this morning. Thank you. Thank you. And then the cookies behind us, I just love how you're totally tied in with the craziness that
Well,
is Open Friday
those are
Coffee.
send out cards.
Of
So
course they are. But see, the thing is let me share something wonderful about Shannon with you guys. I am also a send out card MLM team player. Okay. And she showed up here to get training from me so that she could help her downline. I'm more than happy to help her do that. Do we financially benefit from each other? No, we don't. And she knows she's on Open Friday Coffee. So if somebody is going to reach out to her, say, I'm very interested in send out cards, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, she'll like, have you asked Janine first? Because Shannon's a part of my training. Just like when I go to Shannon's events, I always go, have you talked to Shannon first? Or Shannon first. I'm sorry, I'm saying Shannon. My bad. I have a son named after you, and I'm still struggling. Anyway, but that's just one of the things that you do. And everybody in this Open Friday Coffee, I wanted to let you know that's the type of community we are. When folks are on my platform, they don't pitch, but we do make sure people know what you do, just like what Linda did. Linda was perfect. Like, this is what I do. This is how I help business owners. Here's my LinkedIn. This is how you can get a hold of me. She's not pitching. She's just, this is what I do. Right. So Shannon, anytime I can come speak to your people about how amazing you are and how we collaborate, you holler at me and we will make that happen. I don't care if your event is just for your downline. I'll be happy to show up. Okay.
thank you so much.
No problem. Be glad to support a fellow send out card user. Why? Because people want the personal touch. I don't care how you send cards. You can use send out cards, banner cards. People need your personal touch. I cannot stress that enough, because every day I have people, not just Matt, leaving me voice messages or sending me like, I got my card. You can see it on my website where they're like so excited and they're taking a selfie. I got my card. I'm so excited. Thank you, Janine. So anyway, be glad to do anything I can to support your business, Sean, and just let me know what that looks like for you. Okay. So another wonderful send out card user. And then Maria, how do we know each other? How can I help you? Good morning.
Hi, so I was introduced to you lovely people from Mike, so thank you,
Oh,
Mike,
thank you, Mike.
for inviting me. I'm just trying to absorb it all and take it all in, and as an introvert, it's great because I can just sit here and do my thing best and listen. So, are you allowed to share who you are and what you
Oh
do?
yeah, just like what Linda was perfect. Linda was like, hi, I do gifts. I help business owners do it monthly. Here's my contact in the chat. Yeah, she didn't pitch. So go ahead. What's up?
Oh, okay, fair enough. So,
Uh-huh.
I am Maria Patusik. I am a rebrand strategist, branding, and website designer. I help mostly specialized consultants and coaches with the leveling up of their business. The brand that got you to where you're at will get you to where you want to be. And I partner with them on that rebranding journey. So that's a little bit about what I do. One thing I just wanted to add, because I was enjoying what Matt was saying, and then I think you said it was Shailene who was mentioning about the audiences that we work with. And as a brand strategist, your ideal audience is like the key piece of who we want to, who keeps the joy there, makes us happy. Why doing what we do, we continue doing it. Sometimes when you're working with your audience, you're thinking, okay, this is the generalized message of who they are, but realize there's many people who can utilize your services. Are they ideal fits? And that's when, I think it was Shailene or you were coining how it transforms, or people shift and change and who they are. So there's so many levels of understanding your target audience and getting deeper to know them. And personality mixes is one of them, because you may not, there's certain personality types that may be robbing you of your energy that you can't actually work with, right? So diving deeper into who is the best fit that lights you up is imperative, because that keeps the joy, that keeps the motivation in running your business. So,
okay. So Maria, one of the things I'd love to have from you is take the Eisenhower matrix, if you don't mind. And if you want, because you need yet another thing on your already expanding to-do list. But if you wanted to build out an Eisenhower matrix and send that to me, I will give you full credit, put your brand and your LinkedIn there, and we will promote that through our newsletter. Okay. And because you've obviously got it in your head. So go ahead and do that. The other thing I definitely wanted to share with you guys, and this happened yesterday, I was asked to bid on a contract and I bid it out at $37,000 for 4 months of work. Now the person said, oh, okay, well, what if we hired you for less time? I said, that would require me then to bring in more of my team, because now you're compressing the timeline. So more of my team would have to get involved, ergo, the price would go up and my hourly rate would start rising. I bid this out at $225 an hour of my rate. If you compress it, then I'm going to be needing to do more activity to support my team. Ergo, you're pulling me off another contract. Ergo, then I go next is $325, then $475. And eventually I talked to them about how they would be paying $562 an hour just for me. And we hadn't even talked about all the other aspects where my team would have to come in. Sean, Lynette, Tasha, Maria, we had all these other people. And they were like, oh, so if we hire you for 4 months, I'm like, $225 an hour. So that's what I always encourage people to do. The more a timeline is compressed and the harder or faster or more intensely you're going to have to work, the highest I've ever gone is I have pentupled, I think that's a word, pentupled, 5 times 5 my hourly rate. Rich knows the same guy, I won't use his name, pentupled my rate because he wanted to turn around in 36 hours. I was going to have to drop everything. He paid it in advance. Okay. Those are the people I will work with. They pay on time. They're happy with my work. I'm happy with them. We understand each other. Okay. All right. So the cost to clients and how do you work your cash flow? Those are the two things we like to help you guys with. Okay. So Maria, thank you so much. And you don't have to do the homework. It's totally voluntary. But I am a
No.
college professor. I always give homework, right, Anne? Okay, next we're going to talk to Shailene. Shailene, good morning. Welcome. How's the Great White North?
Pretty cold.
Yeah,
It sure
yeah.
is. We went
It's-
back into a cold spell. I don't like it.
yeah, I know. We're going to get snow this weekend. I'm so excited. I can't wait to go snowshoeing. So
I
anyway, go
should
ahead.
way colder in Alberta. I'm fine here in Ontario. I was going to talk about one thing, but when you were talking, I decided to switch it up. What Janine was saying, I've had a client come to me and ask me to do some work, and it's every month. There's a list of options, and I say, okay, we'll do this, taxes, bookkeeping, consultation, HST, different tax stuff here. And they said, well, I'd really like a lower price. What can you discount for me? And I said, okay. So I picked up the options and I'm like, just tell me which ones here you want me to remove. Right, just tell me.
And the
if you
price
don't,
goes down. It's
you want
amazing.
if
If
you
you
don't
don't
want
ask me to work
this,
as
I'll just cross it off and then it'll lower. Yeah. So you just tell me. I think it's really important not when someone comes to you and asks for a discount, just because they want a cheaper price. I just think sometimes they don't value the work that we do. And we have to really value ourselves and understand the work we do and not be afraid to turn away clients. I had, years ago, Jeff would know, I would accept, when you first start, you accept anyone walking through the door, but you learn to be a lot more discerning and attract the right client. But that's one of the ways to do it, is saying, okay, you just tell me which of these here you don't want me to do. I'll take it off the list. We'll lower the price.
I love that. Thank you so much, because like Anne said earlier, it is respectful of the client. They're just looking for the lowest price.
Yeah.
That they've been trained by everything on the internet, free this, free that, blah, blah, blah. And so I don't blame my clients for looking for the lowest price, but if you want me, then just tell me which one of these items you don't want on the list. I love it. That's brilliant. Thank you so much. Appreciate that tip. Shailene is from the Great White North. She is in Canada, but she does have beautiful tax advice. She does work with people in the United States. If you need a tip or whatever, please reach out to her, call her up, and then offer to pay her for her time. Because one of the things I've learned about her and others like her is that when I recommend somebody, always offer to pay for their time. Let them decide if the information they gave you, because a lot of times the stuff that Shailene is telling you took her years to learn, and it's going to save you $2,000 to $8,000. So please pay the woman a little bit of a fee for that time. Okay. Thank you so much. All right. Val, how are you doing? Is she still on with us? I don't see her anymore. She must have dropped off. Okay. All right. We're going to go. Mike, thank you for bringing two guests to us. And it's
My great
wonderful to
pleasure.
have the man of Peru with us. How are you?
Arriba la costa. Well, thank you very much. I want you to know I've been coming here for about 4 or 5 months. I have invited exactly 2 people to this meeting. Linda got a little detail, but when you get on a call with her, just how much detail she goes into and the gifts that she sends is really incredible. And it's right up your alley in what you do, what you believe in, how to build real relationships, and then the business is a coincidence. And Maria and I talked a few months ago, but the two of us collaborated. We came up with a great saying: fake it till you break it. In other words, you create this identity and you try it out and make, when it doesn't work, that's how you figure out. Because in here we talk a lot about your business identity, who's your tribe, who's your ideal client, what kind of a business do you really run, who do you really serve, and that's so much more important than what you actually do. You know what your talents are long before you go into business, but what makes it a business is who you serve, what problems you really solve. Me personally, that's been the journey. I've already known how to coach people on their keynote. That's not a struggle for me. I was like, this is too easy. Why is this so hard? And so when I saw this, that's somebody who definitely I wanted to bring along. Got a long list of people who I would never invite here, but that's something else.
Okay, so Mike, before you continue, I just wanted
Yes.
to let you folks know, if you want Mike to give you a little snippet, he can write up a keynote story for you, like a real quick snippet. He wrote out a paragraph for me, and we had only chatted like for 5-10 minutes on Zoom. So figure out what a base price is for that, Mike. Okay, get your Stripe account ready. And then I'm going
Okay.
to start sending people to you to just get that little snippet, because a lot of times we don't know what you can do for us. Like, and we want to just have a tablespoon. Can I have a tablespoon, Maria, of kind of what you offer? So figure out something, since I use my books a lot of times for $9.95 or $27. Somebody can buy a book from me and they'll get an idea of what I can do. But for you folks, I highly recommend that you have some sort of a $25, $37 snippet something, so that when I refer people to you, they can figure out if you guys are good fits for each other. It's very discreet. It's a very specific amount of time. And in this case, Mike's not going to give you your 45-minute, but he may be able to help you with your star story, like the story that you use on LinkedIn or something like that, this is what the about is, or something like that. Okay. So figure out what that kind of thing is. Linda, I know you've got packages like that, where people can do a little snippet on something, and send out cards. Shannon and I have, we can have people send a card for free, something like that. What can we do that's a tablespoon for people? Okay. In Shailene's case, I always say offer to pay her for her time, because she's going to save you anywhere from $800 to $2,000. What is that worth to you? Make sure you do that. Okay. Next, we're going to go to another branding expert, and Maria, from what she mentioned, and if I get this wrong, you can put your hand up and we'll call on you next, but likes to work specifically on branding. But Rich Beyer is somebody who helped me when I am looking for a color scheme and a theme that's going across 7 different platforms. And so Rich helped me with the right habit. We have a new logo. We have a new color scheme for that. So good morning, Rich. Do you have a 1-minute branding tip for us today from the
Well,
island of Manhattan?
where the Bronx is up and the battery is down.
Yes, he's also one of our Hebrew ha-has, which is why when Matt was like, "Oh, we're not going to do that," I'm like, "Oh, what?" Go ahead, Rich.
I was verklempt. Um,
Walks amongst
Listen.
yourselves, talk.
Okay,
anyway,
you two.
folks. Anyway, I just want to follow on one thing that Shailene said, by the way, if I may.
Sure. Yeah. Yes.
Before I jump into my own stuff, is that if somebody comes to you and they're looking for a discount, then then the next time that somebody comes along with a price lower than what they're going to bolt and jump ship from you. So if you're, to me, business is about long-term relationships. That's how I look at it. So, if you can avoid the price trap, I say by all means. And I love that, Shailene. Yeah, just tell me which one of these you want me to delete. I love that.
Lowers the price instantaneously.
So, on this date in history, branding wise, did you know that Illinois became the first state to require gender equality in employment? This was 1872. Illinois, gender equality. Who knew, right?
Right.
1972, United States Congress sent the Equal Rights Amendment to the states for ratification. Now, it's not really worked out so well yet, but we're still working on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I saved this for you, Janine, for number 3, that in 1829 in the UK, the UK government passed the Catholic Relief Act.
I am a recovering Catholic. This is true.
Now, the downside with all this did was allow Catholics to take seat in Parliament for the first time. Not that just, but
right.
But they would call it the Catholic Relief Act. I just burst out laughing when I saw that. I'm like, I have to include this one.
Definitely include it with Janine.
All right, now, folks,
all right, dude.
On the downside, on the branding boo-boo side, in 1992, Pepsi came out with Crystal Pepsi. Do you remember that? It was that clear Pepsi, and nobody knew what the hell to make of it. And the taste was off and everything was off about it. And it just created confusion. And Pepsi was like, okay, well, more money poured down the drain, literally and figuratively. Also in the 90s, Harley Davidson, do you know that they came out with like all kinds of perfumes and aftershave products, and it completely pissed off the base because it was not, it felt like it was very much at odds with the rugged Harley persona, as it were.
Can you imagine Hell's Angels putting on cologne?
Manscaping before you get on your hog.
Before you get on your hog and tear up the roads.
And lastly, folks, Kellogg's came out with breakfast mates in the late 90s, and it was intended to be a convenience thing, and it was cereal, milk, and a spoon. And people were like, I'm not buying milk that's been sitting on the shelf.
Not happening, dude.
So, no, their breakfast mates were like, not so much. So that's all. That's what I got from you from the island of Manhattan, everybody. I hope you're having an awesome day.
Thank you very much, as always, letting us know. I learned so much from the branding boo-boos. I always do. I'm always like, this is what happens when you do not stick to your branding. Thank you so much. Okay. And then next, this is the woman who helped me go away and come back home again. I was on a 30-day trip to Australia. It was something I had wanted to do for 50 years, 50 years, 50 years. When I was 8 years old, I wanted desperately to go to the continent of Australia. And I made it. And she made sure I got back home again, considering I was a single woman traveling alone. It all worked out fabulous. So Robin Chatskin, lovely always to have you. Travel by Robin. Chat with us about our 1-minute travel tip today, my dear.
So I'm just going to talk today about how journeys take many forms. And because my journey brought me here that last week, I want to let you guys all know how I took most of you on my trip this week. Matt, I bought a new computer, and before I just downloaded everything like I always do, I thought about you and said, no, don't do that. No, don't do that. No, don't do that. And thank you very much for making me take more time to sync my computer. Mike, I took you with me. I ran a live event this week, and I took a lot of what you were talking about for your tip, and I made a speech, and people came over to me. Oh my God, you did that so well. So thank you for being in my head and on my shoulder. Rich, at that same event, I made a point of making sure that all of the branding from every person that contributed was all consistent, and it was really important. Janine, somebody came over to me, actually my daughter contacted me and said, what was that thing you were talking about, speaking to somebody about writing a book? And somebody that I was speaking to, and I said, my mom, so you're going to be getting a couple of purchases of your new book about your authorship, totally random.
Thank you.
Last but not least, Jeff. So Jeff, you don't know yet, but I will be on your webinar, today. But you were in my head because I am one of those people that on my journey, AI, am fighting it left and right. So today in the paper, there are 2 colleges here on Long Island that have now added an AI degree to their departments. And I have been talking to people about, because they know how I feel about AI, that I am very excited about taking and I hate to steal your thunder, but very excited because it's another way for me to be able to use AI and stop telling everybody that I don't like AI. So I thank you for making my journey shift places. And I thank everybody here for giving me another place and another way to take my journey.
You are so welcome, Robin, and always very generous. And we appreciate you and love you very much for that. And we're coming close to the top of the hour, and I want to make sure we get everybody a chance to speak first. And then, Matt, I'll come back to you regarding AI and what you're pointing to behind you. But Jeff Bourgeois is somebody who he and I built out a course called 12-Hour Books. And then we realized we needed to make sure we could help people publish their own books if they wanted to. If you want to be an Amazon bestseller, we are not your people. But Jeff and I built out how to get yourself published on KDP in an hour. And I just wanted to let you know, Jeff, yeah, thank you, Rich. Rich has his book up. Jeff spent a year of his life figuring out all the ins and outs of Amazon and KDP and how to make it work. And he screamed me through. We practiced by me publishing a book, and we did it in record time, but we slowed things down. And I purposely made mistakes on the video so that people would realize that way it would stretch an hour. But anyway, just wanted to let you know about that. He has decided that he's going to let me work on that side of the business, but he is going to work on the AI side of the business. So Jeff, if you don't mind sharing a little bit about where your new focus is because of what business owners need when it comes to AI. Thanks for helping us out.
I love it. Now, normally I'd mute myself and then I'd
Right, so
over to
everybody could
John,
hold up the sign.
but today I'm not going to. First of all, thank you, Robin. I think you are a lot of who I like to help is the entrepreneur who is resisting AI. And to quote, I think it's Star Trek, resistance is futile. But the reality is it can do so many wonderful things. And so I'm really, really happy to announce that as of yesterday, my new program, the Big Thinker Universe, is officially live. And today I'm going to be teaching a course. It's a 90-minute workshop, and basically it's very, very practical. So I'm going to give, following the theme here today, I'm going to give a very, very practical tip. If you think your client avatar is crystal clear, go into ChatGPT and describe it and see if ChatGPT agrees that it's clear. And this is one of my aha moments is people love the word and, or they add the word or, but the reality is when you're looking at an avatar, it should be one avatar. It should be really, really crystal clear. So use GPT to get really clear on who your avatar is. And my favorite, I love asking questions. I'll ask it about psychographics, demographics, etc. But if you're having trouble figuring out who your avatar is, pick your favorite client and just go into GPT and start describing what you like about them, why you like it, and it will help you. And just say give it the role of an avatar consultant, and it'll help you create a crystal clear avatar that makes sense. So that's my little pitch is if you don't know who your avatar is, guess what? Neither do we. So I'm a networker, and people come say, hey, can you help me find clients? Sure. Who do you want? Anybody with a pulse. Well, okay, here's somebody with a pulse. So that's my tip. And the workshop is free. This is not a pitch for anything. It's just genuinely, I'm a big giant nerd and I love solving business problems. And I've gotten to the point where I've figured out all of mine. So it's going to be an open mic, and we're going to invite people to share what they'd like to solve as a group. And Robin, one last thing, a shout out, if you could, go to Smoke and Al's. Just make sure it's still open on Long Island. It is my favorite barbecue place on the planet. So,
and Jeff is also one of those that help us keep NAFTA alive and well. He's also from the Great White North, and so we believe in international business owners here. The other thing is, and this is something that Jeff taught me, and that was that AI loves to have a role. And so I will say to AI frequently, I'll say, play pretend you're the world's best copy editor, or play pretend you are blah, blah. And ChatGPT gets very childlike because it knows that at my core, this is where Matt and I get along. I'm 8, I'm this 8-year-old kid. I love circuses. I love balloons. I want to make things fun. I want people to have a great time. And so ChatGPT takes on that tone with me and says, great, let's play. What do you want to, what do you want what's your role going to be, or something like that. And so thank you, Matt. And so that's one of the things that give ChatGPT a role, and then it's really interesting to see how it morphs things. And so sometimes this is what Jeff coined. This is his term. There are times that ChatGPT will start playing the kazoo. And that is, it's just pumping stuff out and it's wrong. It doesn't work. It's horrific. It's playing the kazoo. I want you to have that in your head so you remember Jeff, kazoo, Jeff, kazoo. See what we're doing there? Maria and Rich totally know what I'm doing. Okay, so, all right. Matt, talk to us a little bit. You've got 4 minutes, but please only take 3.
All right. Well, actually, I want to go a slightly different direction, just to throw it out there, because I forgot to put it in when I was talking initially. Okay. 2 things. William Shatner's coming out with an autobiography about his life. That should be interesting. Also, I got 2 words for you guys. Beetlejuice. They're coming out with the sequel finally this year, and Winona Ryder and Michael Keaton are going to be renewing their roles in that movie. I'm very curious from that movie when I was back for a kid.
They're
So
keeping Alec Baldwin off the set.
Yep.
I get the point, Rich.
Okay.
So
All right. Don't make me mute you too if you start. So far, I've never had to mute the Hebrew ha-has. They've been fabulous. Everybody works well together. We have a great time. 2 minutes here before we get off.
okay, so this is actually not AI in the background. So let me actually play some trivia with you guys. Can you actually guess what this is?
Source code for Mac OS.
Okay, so what this is, and I haven't seen this in a long time, this is what is called the kernel panic, and that's not when KFC runs out of chicken.
What?
Yes, it's
I'm
called
shocked.
Yes, exactly. It's really clucked up. So anyway,
Bark, bark, bark. He's Chicken Man. He's everywhere. He's everywhere.
all right, there's a no need to cry foul or ruffle your feathers over this one. So this is the equivalent of this right here. So let me show you what this is the equivalent of. This is the equivalent of, let's see, is this right here. It is the Windows, it is the Mac version of this. So that's what a kernel panic is. And so that's when your Apple really crashes, you got major problems. So just to throw it out there to you guys. So.
Thank you very much. We've got about a minute left. If
Colonel
you wanted...
Apple?
Okay, thank you, Rich. If you wanted to chat with somebody and you did not have a chance, pop it into the chat so that two of you can get connected on LinkedIn. We really encourage that. Sometimes we have a little bit more time than we did today. Today we had a lot happening, and I'm grateful to everybody here in the Brain Trust who showed up and helped us with tips and shared with us what was going on. I'm Janine Boland with Open Friday Coffee. Please join us any Friday that you're available. And remember, keep shining that light. Keep being the awesome business owner that you are. People need what you have to offer. Figure it out. You got a problem, figure it out. And sometimes it's, who do I call about this? Not how do I fix this? All right. Have a great day, everybody. See you next week. Bye now.